Hello everyone, my name is Faraz Parvez and I am a Pakistani Christian. It was a Sunday morning, October 28, 2001, in Bahawalpur, a quiet town in southern Punjab, Pakistan. Like every Sunday, Christian families gather at St. Dominic's Church for prayer. The sun had just risen and around 100 people had filled the church pause. Women, men, Sunday school children, Catholics and Protestant alike came together in a peace, hoping to spend worship in the morning. Shortly after 9 a.m., 6 Muslim men arrived on motorcycles. They carried Kalashnikovs. The attackers shoot and kill the lone security guard posted outside the church gate. Then they storm inside. Worshippers had just begun the morning service when Muslim gunmen entered the church chanting, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Witnesses said the attackers shouted, Graveyard of Christians, Pakistan and Afghanistan. And this is just a start. They opened fire on the congregation without any hesitation. People screamed and tried to take cover. Some dove under the benches. Others huddled near the altar. But there was no escape. 2 of the Muslim attackers remained outside to shoot anyone attempt to flee the church. Children were crying, family were holding each other, but the gunmen did not stop. They kept firing, chanting Allahu Akbar, even when they saw young children covered in the blood. There was no mercy. By the time shooting ended, 16 people had been killed. 13 of them were from the same family. Those killed are Catholic priest Father Emmanuel and Constable Slim Bhatti, Iram Javed, Kashif Javed, Jamshed Akhtar, Hina Jamshed, Waqas Nelson Javed, and Ghulam Masih Salik, Rifat, Aruj, Rima, Kandil, Amber, Ghulam Masih and Nargis. They were killed by the Muslim militants. And then the injured, including Moiz Masih, Krishma, Nehmat, Khurram, Shamaun, and Noroz Masih, Saira and Alishba. The gunmen walked out as calmly as they had entered, vanishing into the city. No one stopped them. No police showed up in time. No arrests were made. The attack was carried out in the revenge for the US bombing of Afghanistan, which had begun just weeks earlier. The Taliban had supporters in Pakistan, obviously, especially among extremist religious groups. And even today, they have big support from Pakistan. While the world focused on Afghanistan, we, Pakistan's Christian minority, become a scapegoat for a war we had nothing to do with. The Bahawalpur massacre was not the first time Pakistani Christian had faced violence, but it marked a turning point. That day, a painful truth became undeniable. We were never protected by government of Pakistan. President Pervez Musharraf condemned the attack. He called it an act of terrorism carried out by trained militants. But his words were not followed by justice. No group officially claimed responsibility. No suspects were arrested. No trial ever took place. The story faded from the news, but the pain remained. Even before the attack, congregation at St. Dominic's Church had expressed concern for their safety. Official said 5 guards had posted at the church, but most of them were reportedly asleep when the gunmen arrived. Pakistan, then Minister for Minority, admitted that it was security failure, but it was only an admission. No practical action was taken that time. Churches across Pakistan emptied following Sunday. Fear replaced with the faith in a public worship. In Islamabad, at Our Lady of Fatima Church, Catholic priest warned the congregation that they were now vulnerable targets. Some mullahs in the weeks leading up to the attacks had openly called for revenge against Christians. Banners appeared in the public places invoking the words crusade, portraying in the US military campaign as a war between Christianity and Islam. In such an environment, Christians, just 1.6% of Pakistan population, become an easy and symbolic target. For over a decades leading up to the attack, tensions had been growing between Christians and Muslim majority, largely because of Pakistan blasphemy laws. These laws have often been used not to uphold justice, but to settle a personal score or spread Islamic hatred. A single accusation, often false or exaggerated, can lead to mob violence, imprisonment, or even death sentence. Or they burn our houses, our churches. General Musharraf once tried to reform blasphemy laws by suggesting that any complaint should require evidence be submitted to senior magistrate. But the religious parties pushed back aggressively, and the proposal was quickly dropped. Once again, extremist pressure and fear defeated the effort at legal reform. What happened in Bahawalpur may have been politically motivated, an attack meant to embarrass Musharraf for supporting the US invasion of Afghanistan. But the choice of victim was telling. If the goal was to protest the war, why target peaceful Pakistani Christians? The attack was not only a political message, it was a brutal reminder that minorities in Pakistan could be targeted with complete impunity. Groups like Lashkar-e-Jhangvi were active at the time and were known for the carrying out sectarian killings. They had a link with the Taliban and operate with near complete freedom. Even when the government banned some of these groups, enforcement was very weak. Many of the militant had safe haven in Afghanistan. Some were even welcomed by Taliban. Even when the Taliban government came, when American left in Pakistan, the Taliban welcome songs were played in the capital city of Islamabad. All of this left Christians in Pakistan feeling abandoned. We had contributed to country's development from the beginning, serving in education, healthcare, military, and civil society. We Christians never asked a special treatment. We only wanted equality, and protection. But again and again, when our lives were in danger, we were left to suffer alone. In Bahawalpur, families buried their children, blood-stained the floors of the church that had stood for years a place of peace, and the state offered only silence. No justice was served, no answer were given, and no one was held accountable until today when I am talking to you. This was not just an isolated tragedy, it was a national failure, a failure of the state to protect its own people, a failure to confront extremism, a failure to treat Christian as an equal citizen. For us, Bahawalpur was not a beginning of persecution, but it was a turning point. It proved once and for all that in Pakistan our lives could be taken and nothing would happen. The message was clear. If extremists strike, the government will look the other way. We were never protected. Not then, not now. And unless Pakistan change its path, unless it choose justice over appeasement and equality over fear, this cycle of violence will continue. More churches will be attacked, more families will be broken, and more life will be lost. History will remember Bahawalpur not only for its dead, but for what it revealed: a state unwilling or unable to protect its most vulnerable Christian citizen. I thank you all.